On this week's episode of Know Your CEO, we get to interact with Equity Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. James Mwangi. Dr. Mwangi addresses a wide range of issues, including how the bank has remained resilient over the COVID-19 pandemic period, its entry into other African countries, Kenya's debt situation, and the lighter side of the prolific banker. Take a look. Ever want to know how a CEO sees his world? Then here's how. Apart from running an organization and strategizing, their key role is to ensure there is money in the bank. Our CEO this week is Equity Group Managing Director and CEO Dr. James Mwangi. Dr. Mwangi, thank you for creating time.
Thank you for having me.
Just to get straight into it, Dr. Mwangi, COVID-19 has really hit companies hard. Others have struggled with operations, others have even shut down. But Equity has opened more branches internationally. What has kept that light ablaze?
It's true that COVID-19 has had a devastating effect on the operating environment, and this has affected different companies differently. As an aggregator, playing the role of intermediation, taking from those who have excess and giving those who have deficits, our responsibility has been heightened to ensure that we keep the rights of the economies on. We ensure that all businesses survive. We approached the COVID from two perspectives. One was to be very defensive, ensure the bank was strong enough. We then withdrew dividend for 2019 and then didn't pay dividend for 2020. And that was an additional 20 billion shillings in foregone. So we became a very, very strong bank from ability to absorb shock. The essence of that was to ensure that we were able to support our 15 million customers. Looking back, we accommodated up to 45% of our customers, giving them moratoriums and payment breaks of up to 3 years to ensure that their businesses don't close. The second aspect was looking at the opportunities in the environment. As they say, never waste a good crisis. So we decided the next strategy would be to be offensive. And that is what you have referred to. That's when it made us take over quite a number of banks during that period on an opportunistic point, because we had the strength and the capability to do it, to save other businesses. And lastly was to ensure that we availed customers who needed to repurpose their businesses, to retool their business with the capital that could allow them to do transformation. And I'm sure you know of the 106 Kenyan businesses that we asked them to repurpose and produce PPEs. Those are some of the businesses have done well during this period.
Dr. Mwangi, you have not once, but many multiple times, said that Equity Bank is a bank of the people. Here in Kenya, you have ventured outside Kenya into Rwanda, into Congo. Dr. Mwangi, what motivated you to venture outside Kenya, and how has the customer base accepted Equity Bank outside Kenya?
Maybe this will require somebody looking back. I joined Equity when it was number 66 out of 66 in Kenya, with only 2,000 customers. Today we have 15 million customers. We are the largest bank in Eastern and Central Africa. And we felt that we had made a huge difference in Kenya. So we felt that we should not restrict ourselves and fail to support our neighbors. After all, our dream was an African dream. We are a systemic bank in Uganda, we are a systemic bank in Rwanda, we are a systemic bank in DRC. And in all our top 5 markets, including South Sudan, we're in the top 5 banks.
Equity Bank, Dr. Mwangi, are you looking to entering into more international markets?
Beyond the 7 countries that we have presence, in the medium-term dream is to be in 15 countries by 2025. But our focus in the medium term will be our home continent, Africa.
What innovative projects have you deployed to support businesses build effective operations, more so during this COVID-19 period?
Our history is one of innovations throughout. We transformed banking, we disrupted banking, we democratized banking by removing barriers to financial inclusion. We removed things like ledger fee, minimum balance, account opening balance, bureaucracy of introductions. So when the moment of COVID came, we realized the world has changed, and we needed to be sure that we made it easier for people. Today, 98% of all our banking transactions happen outside our premises. So it was that successful. I wish to say that COVID acted as a tailwind for adoption of online banking, particularly mobile banking.
The second part of this interview is called Quickfire. We get to know Dr. James Mwangi a bit away from the office. Maybe now we can loosen up. Dr. James Mwangi, what do you do beyond office?
A couple of things. One is storytelling. I'm a good storyteller. The second one that I do is occasionally going to enjoy nature. So you find me quite a lot in our lodges, tracking fauna and flora. And lastly, to keep healthy, is spending time in the gym.
Dr. Mwangi, please paint to us a brief picture of what a typical day like in your life is like, from the time you wake up, the time you go to sleep.
Normally wake up at 3 o'clock.
In the morning?
In the morning.
What do you do at that time?
That is the time to reflect and really do your personal assignment. The second one is 30 minutes in the gym. That is 5:30 to 6. And 6, dash to the shower, and off at 6:30. You're heading out, and I'm normally in the bank latest at 7. Latest at 7. Work throughout the day. Majority of my time is in meetings and conversations with my colleagues and partners. And then at around 6:30, when the traffic jam has eased, try to find my way home. And normally, I'm at home at 7.
Dr. Mwangi, it would be bad if I did not ask you about Kenya's debt. Do you see this as a crisis in the waiting?
I don't see it as a crisis. Kenya has a debt to GDP ratio of 69%. And that seems to be the average of emerging markets. I look back and realize that over the last 15 years, that's when we have accumulated our debt. But the same 15 years, I've been privileged to have been the chairman of Kenya Vision 2030. And I've seen where the investments have gone. Those debts have gone into generating power or energy, as we call it. Those debts have gone to build our ports, roads, railways, our health infrastructure, our education infrastructure. So to a great extent, those debts are like investments. And when I took over the initiative during the technical team, Kenya was only a $10 billion economy. Today, Kenya is a $100 billion economy. We have grown 10 times. So essentially, you can correlate the debt. The question is, are we adequately using the investments that we have made?
What is that one thing that you have always kept constant in your conversations with your children?
I'm privileged to have an easy relationship with my children. Two things we always talk about. The first one is our value systems. The only thing that can keep them safe is the value systems that they choose to adopt. We talk a lot about purposeful life, living a life with an essence. Money follow the curve of diminishing value. Money is only as important as paying the bills. Money beyond paying bills has very little value to you. It is in the bank account and helping others who don't have money. That's the money they borrow. So, so when you look at it that way, when you look, when I was growing up, my greatest desire was to eat meat and to because and to drink tea with sugar. I have not drunk sugar for 30 years. I've not drunk tea with sugar for that years. Then you start wondering the real place of money. And lastly is the desire. I am glad and thank God for helping me to manage my greed, to know when it is enough. So it is not about quantity, it's knowing when it is enough.
What's your favorite destination?
The most favorite destination is Masai Mara.
Masai Mara?
Masai Mara is my most favorite destination. When I want to unwind, I find chasing wildlife that you don't talk to.
Yes.
It gives me an opportunity to really have a proper downtime. And I think I've been in Masai Mara 129 times over the last 25 years.
You keep tabs of the times that you've visited
Yes.
Masai Mara, and that's
Yes.
129 times.
129 times. I know at Kick Rock, I've stayed in room 42, 48 times.
Dr. Mwangi, what is with you and numbers?
That's a very good question, but I thank God for giving me a photographic memory. What I'm really, really best at is numbers. And I have a very powerful retrieval mechanism, so I will be able to pull numbers on any subject that is of interest.
This is a challenge
Yeah.
because a majority of youth are watching right now. Give me 3 Sheng words.
Wow, that I don't want to make myself look stupid in front of my children. So allow me
Let me teach
not
you.
to take the offer.
Let me teach you one.
Yes, of course.
Kanairo.
I have no.
That's Nairobi.
Oh, Kanairo.
Yes.
Wow.
Kanairo is
Oh.
Nairobi.
Wow.
Mbogi.
Kanairo is Nairobi. Boogie.
Mbogi.
Bogie.
Mbogi. Mbogi is your squad, your gang, your friends. Mbogi.
Maybe we should stop the lessons there because then that one I need then to be learning every day because you know we are nothing but our references. The way I've been socialized, the way I've been exposed to
Yes.
the have a different differences like to words. So I think that's a language that might be more difficult than French.
But now because you're into numbers,
Yeah.
I'll give you a last one.
Oh yes,
50 bob is chwani.
Chwani.
Yes.
No, Chwani would have a very different meaning to me, I'm sure. You know. What? Yeah, interesting conversation. Wow. And you're able to oscillate both worlds
Yes. Comfortably.
comfortably.
Born into both worlds.
You're able to anchor a conversation with James Mwangi where you talk, you speak the layman's language,
Comfortably.
you speak the money language,
Comfortably.
you speak the business language, and then you can still dive to the Cheng language.
Yes. Just like you, I
Until
thank the
lucky.
Lord. As we wind up, Dr. James Mwangi, what advice do you have for young entrepreneurs?
Thank you very much. So a great question. And maybe I would say this is one area I would like to make a greater contribution, and I would invite maybe conversations. So where I would really encourage young people is to appreciate like the way they had to study chemistry and biology. They have to study the language and vocabulary of business. They have to understand the principles upon which business work. The concept of profit must be fully understood. The concept of cost, business cost, must also be understood. So once we understand these concepts, it becomes very easy to understand profit, to understand business. Business is both a science and an art. So the concept of science is what most people miss. They take the social aspect of business, they take the art part of business, but the science of business is where all of us need to invest a little bit more better, and that is about principles.
Dr. James Mwangi, that was a wonderful conversation, enlightening by all standards. I'd like you to sign out for us. This is your camera. Just say, the conversation on Know Your CEO continues next Monday.
The conversation, Know Your CEO, continue next Monday.
Many thanks for watching. Thank you, Dr. Mwangi. It's a wrap.